it just went dead over the course of a couple of years.
Big issue vendors are a mainstay of the UK's high streets. There are few people better placed to give a temperature check of the country's economic climate. This is Britain, through their eyes. I'm Laura Kelly, digital producer at The Big Issue. Recently, our vendors in Kent alerted us to growing poverty in the area. I went to investigate.
High Street is, there's no real shops as such, it's just all hairdressers, cafes and stuff like that, and you don't get people come down doing your proper shop. So, it's not the right sort of people coming down to buy the magazine.
Colin lives in Dover. Until a couple of years back, he sold The Big Issue in the heart of the town. But recently, Dover has taken a downturn. Now Colin has to travel up the coast every day to sell the magazine in Broadstairs.
Dover's one of those really historic, beautiful towns. And for some reason, it's just, as Colin himself says, it's just impossible to sell there. And you just see row after row of charity shop and fast food place and off licenses, and it's just repeat with loads of boarded up shops in between. And it's such a shame, and it really feels like, especially when you speak to people over there, there's not a huge amount of hope.
Chris has been delivering magazines to vendors across Kent, on and off, for 8 years. In that time, he's seen the place change.
I noticed when I came out to Kent, especially after the last lockdown, that it just felt that the places that were suffering from deprivation previously, it had just been exacerbated to some mad levels.
Colin's experience in Dover reflects the state of many town centres across Britain. Already struggling before COVID, they're now reeling from the impact of the pandemic. But it also tells us something more. This isn't just a story about retail trends or the shift to online shopping. It's about how an area in what is commonly thought of as one of the richest parts of the UK is struggling.
The South East has become synonymous with being rich and wealthy and people accessing London. And Dover, despite the fact that it is as far southeast as you can be, is none of that. The town definitely isn't thriving. And COVID was yet another nail in the sort of economic coffin.
Almost 105,000 children live in poverty in Kent. Dover has the highest number of children living in deprivation in the county. More than a third of its children are growing up in poverty.
The impact, certainly, of the pandemic has been huge on Dover, but we can go back further than that. The high street has suffered hugely in the past 5, 6, 7 years. Gradual redundancies at the port and a sort of oppression of wages there, and some of the closure of the big employers in the area over the past decade have meant that there isn't the wealth coming into Dover to sustain many families, and it leaves people with very, very little to give.
At 5.5%, unemployment rates in Dover are around the UK average. The difficulty is that many of those in employment are in low-paid work. The average salary in Dover is 18.5% lower than the UK average. The Conservative MP for Dover, Natalie Elphick, said, "During the pandemic, footfall in all town centres dramatically fell. But with the exciting multi-million-pound redevelopment of Dover's Market Square and seafront, as well as the recovery of town centres following the end of lockdown, we expect Dover to bounce back strongly."
A lot of people, they'll slate Dover, but I think if they moved about a bit, they'd realise that Dover is a great place to live, to be honest, But as for the high street, it's all around, you get it in every town, the high streets are going downhill. Hopefully there'll be changes and they'll pick up again, so yeah. And doesn't do me out of a job, but yeah, we'll see.